Chapter 4: Types of Police Report. Police reports are categorized into two types. These are basic or informal police report, and then investigative or formal report. First is basic or informal police report. It is a report that deals with the ordinary miscellaneous usual day-to-day memorandum, letter, or form accomplished by any member of a unit, section, precinct, bureau of division within a department in accordance with prescribed regulation. Usually, this report contains the following items. So, tuma tayo sa basic or informal police report. So, sa madaling salita, ang basic informal police report ay sinasabi ito yung uri ng kadalasang ginagawa ng ating mga kapulisan, yung kung paano yung mga pang casual na pagre-report, pag-conduct ng report. So ito yung mga following item. The heading or the letterhead of the organization office or section where the writer or the police investigation is assigned. So sa heading or the letterhead, ito yung dito nakasulat yung organization or office kung saan nagmula yung letter or ang police report. The next one is memorandum line. It is written in a capital letter, 2 spaces below the heading. So, yung kailangan niya, 2 spaces below the heading. Ito siya. Yan. Ito yung heading or letterhead. 2 spaces. Ito yung memorandum. Yan. The next, the addressee to whom the communication is to be sent. It is either for or to from a chief of office or from a senior officer to his subordinate. It is to while from a subordinate to a chief of office or to senior officer it is for. So yun na nga sa address kung kanino ipapadala yung police report. So bakit kailangan ng to and for sa letter? Pag nanggaling sa senior officer yung letter is ilalagay is for. Pag ang tatanggap naman ng letter sa subordinate, ang ilalagay is to. The next channel where the communication will pass through before it reaches the addressee. The word through is used. So sa channel naman, dito muna pinapadala o binibigay yung letter o yung report bago ito makarating sa addressee. At through ang ginagamit bilang represent ng channel. Number 5, the subject is the meat of the communication. So subject, ito yung kung ano ang nilalaman ng isang letter or police letter, kung para saan ang letter. The next is date. The date with the communication is written. So yun nga, kailangan ng date kung kailan ginawa yung letter. 7, the text proper or the body of the communication relevant to the subject. So ito na yung pinaka nilalaman o pinaka body ng letter, yung pinaka mensahe ng letter doon sa papadalan niya. The next is the name of writer or the source of communication. So kung sino nga yung gumawa ng letter, yun yung ilalagay na pangalan. Tapos signature of the writer. Syempre kailangan ng signature ng nagsulat para malaman kung sino yung nagbigay o kung kanino galing yung letter. So, basic or informal report are generally informed in nature. It seldom goes out of the police department. Another example ng letter is yung magbibigay ka ng request na magbibigay ka ng request. For example, gusto mong lumipat sa ibang department o sa ibang unit or sa ibang lugar, magbibigay ka ng letter dun sa nakakataas. Yan. The next is investigative or formal report. This report covers a full detailment in the presentation of the case. It is an exact and executive narrative of facts without any addition or subtraction which were discovered during the course of the investigation. Formal or investigative report is classification into the following. So, sa investigative or formal report, ito naman yung kapag sinabi nating investigative or formal report, dito na nakapasok o dito na yung pinag-uusapan na may tinatopic na dito yung kung may yung kaso o yung crime. So dito yung investigative or formal report. Ito yung ito yung may kaso ng pinag-uusapan. Yan. Kasong pinag-uusapan na may laman ng krimen or yun nga kaso. Kailangan dito exact yung makukuhang information. So next, initial report or advance report. It is an advance information on a new or fresh case assigned to a particular investigator. It is written and submitted immediately after having conducted the initial investigation of the case. So, sa initial, ito yung report na ginagawa kapag bago pa lang o fresh yung kaso. Pinapagawa ito sa isang tao na kung sino ang naka-assign sa report na ito at kung ano lang yung nakuhang information, dapat eksakto, walang labis o walang kulang yung ibibigay na report. So dapat answerable siya ng 5W1H. Yun dapat ang mailalagay o mahanap sa report. The next one, progress or follow-up report. It is the result of the following up in stagnation of the fresh or new case. It is written and submitted every time or wherever any development or progress is accomplished in the follow-up investigation. So, sa progress or follow-up report, ito naman ang report na ginagawa mo sa tuwing may bagong follow-up na report o bagong information na makakatulong sa kaso. So, halimbawa, wala pang identification sa initial report. So, kapag nalaman mo na pag nakakuha ka na ng bagong information, doon papasok si follow-up report. The next, final or closing report. It is a complete written complete written narration of facts based on an extensive investigation of the case by the police investigator who initially started the investigation of the case. It is the result of evaluation, summation, analysis of all the facts and circumstances surrounding the case, tying all loose ends pertinent thereto so as form a clear and composite picture of the crime committed in the minds of the readers for prosecutorial and judicial action. So sa final, ginagawa ito kapag kumpleto na yung information by the police investigation. Ito yung pinaka-resulta ng isang police report. Yun, at doon na pagdidesisyonan kung makakasuhan ba o makukulong yung isang suspect. The final or closing report is written and submitted whenever the case is solved and classified as closed. Yun. And then it is categorized or solved and closed when the offender is finally arrested. The evidence against him is completely gathered to warrant prosecution and witnesses are located to testify the trial. So yun nga sa final or closing report, bibigyan na siya ng prosecution ng warrant at hahanapin yung mga witness para ma-testify yung ginawang kasalanan ng isang suspect. It is the proof of the successful culmination of a work well done, but before a case is considered solved and eventually closed, an investigator has to undertake a hazardous, persevering hit and miss follow-up action to verify information which will lead to the final solution of the case. Yun. So ito, letterhead. Ito yung na kanina na nakalagay na letterhead. Yan, ito yung letterhead. Dito yung nakalagay yung department na pinanggaling, yung organization na name ng organization na pinanggalingan. So 2 spaces below the heading. So kailangan 2 spaces siya below the heading ng memorandum. And 2 spaces, 1 tab, 2 tab, and addressee from acting chief, subject, spot report, date, October 15 to 2026. Yun yung mga ng letter. So kailangan may guhit siya. 1 space. So reference. Sa reference naman dito mo tinutukoy kung saan nagmula yung report. Kung ang pinagkunan mo ay ang police blotter, ay ilalagay mo yung police blotter entry number at saka yung date kung kailan ginawa yung police blotter. The next is 2 spaces between paragraph. Indicate briefly the time, date, and place of indicate dito mo ilalagay yung kung ano eksaktong oras, eksaktong araw, tsaka yung lugar na pinangyarihan. Next, brief facts of the case. So brief facts of the case, ito yung ilalagay na yung pangyayari or yung mga identification of the suspect, the victim, kung paano nagsimula ang krimen. Yun yung sa brief facts of the case. Next, other facts. Yung sa other facts, pwedeng ilagay yung mga evidences founded at the crime scene. 5, requested or recommended action. Dito naman, kung ano yung mga requested, depende doon sa pangyayari ng krimen. Halimbawa, nakakuha ka ng ebidensya ng basyo ng baril. So doon ka magre-request o doon ka magre-recommended ng another evidence o pandagdag evidence. Number 6, progress report will follow. So kapag natapos mo na yung mga naunang report, ang next mo na dapat ang progress report. Yan yung next mo. So dito sa arrest report, arrest reports are used to document that events that occur when you arrest a suspect. Yan, kailangan may mapakita tayong document na mapatunay sa isang suspect na siya ay pwedeng i-aresto. So many officers take little pride in their time and energy to complete arrest reports. So yet the arrest report is one of the most important an investigator will write. An investigator has to include the probable cause to stop, detain, and arrest the suspect in his arrest report. An arrest report also lays the groundwork for the probable cause to search for fruits or instrumentalists of the crime. The next is clearance report. Clearance reports are used to document the disposition of a criminal case. Dispositions include arrest, identification of the suspect without arrest, recovery of property, restitution of filing a criminal complaint. You seldom use clearance report for non-criminal. Yun nga sa kailangan ng document na bigyan ng clearance report yung isang document para mailabas sa hukuman o sa criminal case. Next. Crime report, sometimes called face sheets, are completed when your preliminary investigation result in the conclusion that a crime occurred. The report documents your preliminary investigation and must include suspect description, property taken, evidence collected, property damage, and injuries to the victim. It should also include information about the suspect's modus operandi. So dito sa crime report, dito pinagukunan yung basel about sa statistical data for crime analysis. Daily activity report. You may record daily activity on a daily activity report or officer's logbook. Typically, the report includes the location of the activity, amount of time spent, the names of people you talk to, and the brief disposition in many agencies. You may use mobile data terminal or laptop computer to record the information. So dito nga sa daily activity report, kailangan yung mga officer na nagre-report is araw-araw dapat silang kailangan araw-araw naka-record yung mga ginagawa nila. Kailangan lagi silang nagre-report kung sino yung kausap nila, kung sino yung kausap nila sa oras na yon, kung kailan sila umalis, kung kailan sila magko-conduct ng investigation, o kung kailan sila kung sino yung mga kausap nila, kung sino yung mga kausap na para makapag kung sino yung in-interview nila. Kailan laging naka-record sa logbook o kung anong mabisang paraan. The next, evidence report. The collection and preservation of evidence of crime scene may be documented in an evidence report. You use it document the chain of evidence. You may also use it to request forensic examination of the evidence. So sa evidence report, ito yung halimbawa may nakita kang may nakita kang may nakita kang isang dugo sa pinangyarihan. So, kinuha mo yon para sa ebidensya. Pinicturean mo. Tapos, yung sample ng dugo is pinadala mo sa forensic examination kung kanino ba yung dugo na ito, kung sino ba yung may-ari, kung sa suspect ba o sa biktima. Kung ano yung pwedeng kamatay ng kung ano yung kinamatay ng biktima, pwedeng ipadala sa examination, sa mga forensic examination. Incident report, document events that are not incident report, crimes depending on the activity in your jurisdiction. 70% nga 70% of your calls for service may not be for crimes. For example, medical aids calls and civil disputes. In many of these cases, you will have to write a report documenting your actions. Incident reports may also be called service or miscellaneous reports. So, yun nga. Sabi nga dito, sa incident report, hindi lahat ng tinatawag is puro sa crime. Puro sa mga crime activity. Hindi. Sabi nga dito, 70% ka ng mga tawag is para sa mga medical mission, sa mga ano po ba yung mga yun sa medical mission. Hindi lahat ng nire-report is about siya sa mga crime activity. Next, memorandum. A memo is report, a departmental form, and is used to clarify the daily operation of the department. You may use memos to request information and to respond to requests for information. You frequently write memos concerning personnel requests, maintenance requests, and training. Yan nga, memorandum. The word memo. Yan nga, kailangan dito, pinapakalat dito yung kung anong gagawing activity sa isang department. Magbibigay ng request letter, tapos ng request letter para sa memo, tapos ikakalat na 'yon sa mga department para malaman kung ano yung mangyayari, kung anong merong activity doon sa araw na nilagay sa memorandum. The next is narcotics. Narcotics of intoxication reports. Narcotics or intoxication reports are used to document the suspect's condition when under the influence of drugs or alcohol. In opiate influences cases, the report may include a diagram showing the location of the puncture wounds. It is not uncommon to complete an intoxication report for a suspect arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol and or drugs or for public intoxication. Sa madaling salita, ang narcotics of intoxication reports is patungkol siya sa mga drugs or sa mga alcohol. Dito kasi malalaman kung nakainom ba o naka-drugs ba yung isang tao. Supplemental report. In many cases, you are not the first officer on the scene, yet you may still conduct part of the investigation. You will need to document your actions in a supplemental or also follow-up report. You may use a supplemental report to record information you discover after you have written the original report. So, ito nga, Halimbawa, ikaw yung pangalawa ka sa dumating na responded. So, kahit pangalawa ka sa sa respondent, kailangan mo pa rin mag-conduct ng mga ebidensya para madagdag makatulong pandagdag dun sa naunang respondent na nakalikom din ng mga ebidensya. So, yung sa pangalawang respondent na nakahanap din ng ebidensya is ipapakita niya doon sa naunang respondent para para masanib nila yung ebidensya at mapabilis yung pag-iimbestiga. Traffic accident report. Traffic accident reports document facts at the scene of a traffic collision. Your report may include statements of witnesses, photographs, depending on your department's policy and state law. Traffic officer may use a short form of the report for non-injury accident. So, sa traffic accident is pagka halimbawa yun nga nagka-aksidente, so kailangan mong makakuha ng isang witness para magpatunay sa nangyari. And then kailangan mo rin mag picturean yung pangyayari para sa pwedeng pang makitang ebidensya. The next is parts of civilian letter. Ito yung kadalasan na ginagawa natin. Halimbawa, yung nung high school, may pa tiklop-tiklop pa tayo ng papel para sa natin sa gagawin nating letter. So, sa heading, dito yung nakalagay yung address. Ito yung unang address, sa address, yung pangalawa yung city, at yung pangatlo naman yung date. Yan, yung date. The next is inside address or address. It shows the name and address of the recipient, that is, if the person or firm to show. Sa address ito. Inside address, it shows the name and address of the recipient, that is, if the person or firm to whom the letter is written in many business letters. The inside address can be written in 3 lines. The name of the recipient appears on the first line, the street address on the second, and the city, state, and the zip code on the third. So, yun nga. Sa inside address, ito yung pangalan at address na kung sino yung tatanggap ng letter na napapadalan mo. Next, salutation. It is also called as greeting. It should begin 2 lines below the last line of the inside address. In business letters, the most common salutation combines a title and the person's last name, such as Dear Miss or Dobson or Dear Dr. Davis. Use their Sir or their Madam. When the recipient name is unknown, or when writing to company, call friends by their first name or a nickname, such as Dear David or Dear Cindy. Use a colon after the salutation in a business letter, but use a comma in a personal letter. So, salutation, ito yung panimulang bati sa part ng letter. Next, body. It's contain the writer's actual message. It typewritten. The body should begin 2 lines below the salutation. So, yun nga. Sa body naman, dito nakalagay yung pinaka mensahe mo sa pagbibigyan mo ng letter. Next, complementary clause. Just as the salutation greets the reader at the or at one beginning of a letter, the complementary clause says goodbye at the end. These two parts of the letter should be consistent in their degree of the formality. So yun nga sa ayun nga yung sa complementarity. In a letter that opens with Dear Mr. Caldwell or Dear Sir or Dear Madam, the complimentary could be yours truly or very truly yours for an informal closing, cordially or best regard of appropriate. If the salutation is Dear Bill, proper closing include sincerely, cordially, and with the warmest regards. The complimentary clause should end with a comma. The clause should be proceed to lines below the body of the letter. Very respectfully yours, or yours very respectfully, very truly yours, yours truly. Yan yung mga ilalagay sa complimentary clause. Signature, it is the writer name. So yun nga. Sa signature, syempre, kailangan ng signature ng kung sino yung nagsulat para patunay na siya mismo yung o sa kanya mismo nang galing yung sulat na binigay sa kanya. The form of the letter depends on the way the six parts of the letter are arranged on the page. The most common forms are full block and semi-block. Each may be used for both business and personal letters. The full block form is the most commonly used form, probably because it is the easiest and quickest to the type. So, all parts of a letter in full block form begin at the left margin. New paragraphs are not indented. An extra line of space separates the paragraphs. The semi-block is less formal than the full block form. The heading is placed in the upper right hand corner, but both the complementary clause and the type signature line up vertically with the reading. All other parts of the letter begin at the left margin. New paragraphs are not indented. An extra line of space separates the paragraphs. So, next is the developed address. Usually is the same as the inside address of the line or of the letter, is most commonly centered on the envelope. The address should be at the least 3 lines long. Use the capitalized 2-letter post office abbreviation for the state or province. The writer's return address goes in the upper left hand corner of the envelope. Always single space addresses. So yun yan. Margin. Margin play an important role in the proper format of a composition. In general, teachers rate a student them by its appearance. Hence, it is important that you learn how to place the proper margin in your writer work and even in the letter writing. Margin rules normally considers the following space. Top first page without printed letters, type letters 3 and 4 inch or 5 ruler spaces from the edge of the paper. Top second and succeeding pages 1 and 1/4 inches or 7 ruler spaces from the top of the paper. Left 11 and 1 and 1/4 inches or 15 bar spaces. Right 3 or 3/4 inches or 7 bar spaces. Bottom 1 and 1/4 inches or 7 ruler spaces. The heading including the address appears on the upper third of the sheet, so that when the paper is folded, the address can be seen through the glass sign window of the envelope. on the letter address to a single addressee. About 5 blank spaces between the first loan of the body letters are needed to meet these requirements. The rule of placement followed even though a window envelope is not used. The body of the letter is placed on the lower two-thirds of the sheet. It is followed by the complementary ending. So that's all. Thank you, and thank you for listening.